Morning, folks. Jer here at the Viewer Afternoon, folks. 18th of January, Leeds news on the View. Jer, I hate doing these live. I'm not ready for them. I like to practice a bit. I hope everyone's having a good week so far. It's been an interesting one. We got Cardiff City tonight. There's a few bits and pieces floating around. It's more updates than really anything else, but a couple of bits that popped out yesterday floating around. So we'll just start off with let's start off with some smaller news. And big congrats to 18-year-old Joe Snowdin, who signed an extension to his Leeds United contract. He has signed a deal for another 18 months. Joe Snowdin scored 5 times for Leeds between the 21s and the 18s last year, and has looked really good this year when he has played for Leeds. A bright spark in this kid, and I think he could be the next little gem to keep an eye on coming through. Delighted for him, and that's another 18 months. Of him locked up at Leeds, which is always a good thing. Very, very positive. Let's talk about some incoming news. And according to the Yorkshire Evening Post, Leeds United want to bring in Portuguese defender Diogo Monteiro. Monteiro is a 17-year-old who plays in Switzerland at the moment and is playing for Servette. He will be looked at by Leeds as a player to come in for the under-21 side, is what's being said. The issue with Leeds signing the player right now is that clubs in England cannot sign players from Europe under the age of 18, and he is 17 years of age. He turns 18 on January 28th, so payday for most people and maybe for Leeds. And they might look to bring him in. There's a couple of people asking online today, what does that mean for Charlie Cresswell? It doesn't mean anything. The kid's 17, Charlie's 20, so there's a difference of 3 years there. So no reason why one can't go into the first team setup next year, while the other one is in the under-21s, which looks like is the plan to keep the young central defender with the Leeds United under-21 side. And as I said, Leeds won't be in a position to sign him until 28th of January anyway, because he's 17 currently and waiting for his birthday. Let's talk about the Azzedine Ounahi situation. Sorry. And it's got a bit interesting. Fabrizio Romano yesterday was talking on the what was the name of the podcast? The podcast yesterday, anyway, he was talking about the Angers central midfield, as we've now established that's what it's called. And he said that Leeds United are still very much in the mix. He said that the podcast was Made in Africa podcast, and he said that Leeds have made a proposal to sign the Moroccan midfielder. He also said that Leeds are pushing, they're still in the race, and they have put a proposal in front of the player. Now, the issue here, and what we reported yesterday, was the Angers president had flown across to England to meet an unnamed team, not Leicester, which is what the article said. However, it appears it possibly wasn't Leeds either, and according to Sports Witness, they are saying that Aston Villa are now in the mix to sign Ounahi, and that the club president from Angers flew to England to meet Aston Villa's representatives about talking about the player. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens there. Leeds do have other options in that midfield area should they not go for Ounahi. There was talk yesterday that they've stalled in their interest in Ounahi because of the Jess Marsch situation. To be really clear on this, Ounahi wouldn't be a Jess Marsch signing. It would be very much a Radrizzani signing. Rads likes him. Rads has made no secret of the fact that he likes him. Victor Orta has spoken about this before and how much Radrizzani likes the player. So this will be Radrizzani bringing in a player for Leeds, not necessarily Jesse Marsch's recommendations. There are other midfielders on the list. Sasa Lukic has been linked. Seko Fofana has been linked. So there's plenty of options there. So not the worst in the world of Leeds. Don't get Ounahi. And if you go off Victor Orta's earlier comments in the window, he said that although they looked at the player, and what we saw in the World Cup was not a representation of what he delivers in the league for Angers, and that Leeds, he's not the kind of player that Leeds would be interested in. That seems to have changed because the chairman is very keen on bringing him in. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But a developing situation and one that's moving every single day. There's no other real news about players being linked with Leeds outside of young players, because Leeds said they were going to do 2 players this window, a left back, and they've kind of done that with Verber, and a striker, which they've again kind of done with Ruter, which would be, 2 players that play in different positions and play up front and playing left back and left centre back. So, players that can move around a little bit. So, Leeds pretty much all but done. The midfielder is the only one that you're possibly looking at. I still say it. I wish Leeds would sign someone like Rafael Guerrero as a left back and let Vober come into the defence. A bit more experience head back there would be great. Moving on then, Joe Gelhardt has popped up very late today in the news. Just before we went live, we saw the information on Joe Gelhardt. And according to Football Insider, Stoke City are now lining up a move for Joffrey. Joffrey's been linked with multiple championship clubs over the last couple of weeks. And what Football Insider are saying is that Stoke City are now looking at Joffrey as a replacement for Liam Delap, who's loan that they cancelled and sent back to Manchester City. So it'd be a good move for Joffrey as well, but Blackburn are also interested in him, as are Wigan. There's plenty of clubs interested in Joffrey. So I think Leeds will leave this one probably late. I'd be surprised if you don't see Joffrey involved tonight. If Joffrey's not involved in the squad tonight, I think we can take that as he's possibly going out on loan very, very soon. So we'll have to wait and see. Keep saying that, have to wait and see, but we will. We'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about the big story, the main one, and pretty much our last story of the day, and that's Jess Marsch. And there's a lot of stories floating around yesterday, and we'll try and balance this out as evenly as we can. But according to Santi Una, who is a journalist who works for the publication of France Foot Mercato, he is saying Leeds are now considering Jess Marsch's future. The Foot Mercato journalist has reported that Leeds have put together a short list of candidates to replace Jess Marsch should the next couple of games not go particularly well. What he has said himself is, according to our information, the leaders of Leeds are considering replacing the American. Even if nothing is yet recorded, the Peacocks have already established a short list of several names. Extra credit there for throwing the Peacocks name in there. Now, it's an unusual one because it's not coming from the States where Jesse's from. It's not coming from the UK where obviously Leeds are based. This is coming out of France. It's an interesting one, and it kind of goes against some other things, because the Daily Mail reported also yesterday that the mood in Elland Road and around the Leeds camp is very much a positive move, with players still very much behind Jesse Marsch. There's a comment that Jesse made in one of his interviews that he did about players going rogue, and a couple of people took it on Twitter yesterday to mean that players were pushing against him, and that a couple of players had gone to Radrizzani and asked for Jesse to be sacked. That doesn't appear to be true. It was an article went out with absolutely no source in it at all. No one labeled as where the source had come from, or even mentioning of a source, and also no real foundation of any information about what was going on. It was just players have asked for Jesse to be sacked. No players named. No more detail, nothing than that. And it looks like that's not true. It does look like that's not the case. And it looks like the players are very much behind Jesse. And if you look at the performance Leeds and put in over the last couple of weeks, you can't say the players aren't playing from. They are. Just, defensively, we've got big problems. So it won't be Dyke. All right. It won't be Sean Dyke. Don't worry about it. There's a couple of names. Ange Postecoglou from Celtic has been mentioned. I'm Irish, so I keep an eye on Celtic. Ange will be a quality manager to get as well. Carlos Corberán is in there as well. There's a couple. Hey, even Rafa Benitez with this young squad, with this young talent here, putting someone like Benitez in charge, you never know. He's done great jobs with teams with less talent than Leeds have currently. So, it's got to be an easy one. It's going to be an interesting one over the next couple of days. And I said this yesterday. I like Jesse Marsch as a person. I think he's a good guy. I think there's elements of what he's trying to do at Leeds that are the right things. Unfortunately, he needs time, and we don't have time. So as much as I think Jesse needs time and should be given time, we're running out of road. We've got to start picking up points. Outside of the Cardiff game tonight, Jesse has Brentford and Nottingham Forest. They're two games that I personally think he needs to get 6 points from. I think 4 points, 3 points at home, and then a point away to Forest probably wouldn't be the worst in the world, given Forest's kind of re-emergence in form recently, but he needs to minimum 4 points for me. If he doesn't get a win at home against Brentford on Sunday, then I think he could be in big trouble. But we'll have to wait and see. As I said, I hope he gets it right. I hope he beat Cardiff. I hope he beat Brentford, and I hope he beat Forest, and then everyone relax a little bit. It's important about getting a run together. So we have to say, Bazzi's saying he thinks he's got 3 games left. I think it's the same. I think he's got the next 3 games, but he needs to get. For me, he needs 2 wins and a draw minimum. But he needs to win in Elland Road. So, that's the crack, folks. That's where we are today. As I said, thanks everyone for watching the channel and support our channel. If you like the channel and want to support us, you can subscribe. That does everything I needed to do. So if you can do that, that would be great. Outside of that, I will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. And back tomorrow, more Leeds news.